Go for it, Paul.
All right. Testing, testing. Today on Quality Time with Family Ties, we learn to give a shit about the nuclear arms race.
I like it. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey everyone, welcome to Quality Time with Family Ties. I'm one of your hosts, Scott Jones. Joining me again, Mr. Paul Packler. Paul, how are you?
I feel like I need another 5-hour energy drink. I'm starting to flag.
Well, that's good, Paul, because Corey and I are here for an intervention. We need to sit this kind of lured into the guise of...
Not so fast. I'm just about to do a line of cocaine, so I really think it sucks.
Corey, we talked about this too. And of course, Corey Pepper's here too as well. How are you, Corey?
I'm great.
Nice. All right, guys. So it's Thanksgiving at the Keaton household. It's a holiday episode.
We made it. We made it to Thanksgiving.
We made it to Thanksgiving.
We've gone from September to November. Isn't that amazing?
And in today's television climate, yes, that would be amazing if you had a show that ran that long.
Selfie,
Absolutely.
we hardly knew ye.
So the whole family's getting ready for Thanksgiving, and of course, like you do, the parents are going to go protest, a nuclear facility, like you do on Thanksgiving, right?
Well, there is the first problem, and to me, the big problem of the episode. Did they really plan to go? They invited Elise's mom and dad over,
right,
and then said, well, and she's a dreadful cook, as we find out over and over again.
The grandmother is.
Right. Not Elise. Grandma is. And in the meantime, we're going to go and, first of all, who has a demonstration on Thanksgiving Day?
Yes.
Not exactly a great day for the press to cover it.
Well, let me say this. In New York City, we did have one about Eric Garner. There was the Eric Garner protest. Yeah, on Thanksgiving, because it was like the non-indictment came down just in the week prior, because the night that it happened was the NBC tree lighting. And
that's right.
Maybe I'm getting my dates wrong of who it was. It might have been the Ferguson. But regardless, they had the tree lighting and the Macy's Day Parade were both protested, and it became a bit of a news story at the time. But at the same time, yes, other than that, I can't think of any other protests that have happened on like Christmas or Thanksgiving or anything like that.
And I would only say the reason for those protests at that time is because it warranted like immediate reaction right then and there. Like it wasn't something that could just you can hold like this, protesting nukes in 1982. There were a lot of opportunities to protest nukes.
Why not do it on Black Friday or on the day before Wednesday? I don't understand. Why do it Thanksgiving? It makes no sense.
Yeah, whoever organized this protest really messed up.
Yeah, well, I mean, that happens when you're in your mid-30s and you're putting together protests. Like, everyone that gets arrested from this, I'm spoiling, but everyone who gets arrested is at least 40 years old.
Oh yeah, there's no young people there. No. The issue of no nukes kind of reminded me, like, this was a really big thing, like, in the early 80s of the impending, arms race that was happening. And it made me think of a movie. See if you can remember it. And listeners, if you tweet it to us if you do. It was about a kid in a school who learned about the arms race and decided as protest not to speak in class at all and not talk. And it got the attention of like this basketball player whose nickname was Magic, and he decided not to play or talk too.
I'm doing it. It rains threes. It rains threes.
Yeah, threes. It rains threes. And they would hold 3 fingers up in the air, because what happens is the basketball player, his plane, as he's about to go to like some meeting or something, mysteriously crashes, and it makes him a martyr and this whole big campaign. If someone can remember the name of that movie, please.
My God, Scott, I'm going to be honest. It feels like I had dreamed that movie, and you bringing that up with such attention to detail, it makes my heart feel good.
Ah, good, Paul. See, you don't need those 5-hour energy drinks, man.
No.
Get high on life, buddy.
Yeah. What about Corey? Do you know the title of that?
I I have no recollection of it. In fact, you're telling me this, and I'm thinking a basketball player named Magic? You mean
Yeah.
like Magic Johnson?
It was supposed to be referencing someone like Magic Johnson in 1980.
But this was prior to Magic Johnson, wasn't it?
No, I think Magic was playing in 82.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just think they wanted that nickname for that reference. But yeah, and so the 3 was like the symbol for Magic, and but like the whole entire school wouldn't talk. Like it was pretty incredible.
That would be great for teachers. The students wouldn't talk. That would be wonderful to do.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everyone benefits from the protest. But I digress. So jumping back into the story, so the kids kind of give the Stephen and Elise some crap about, why are you going to do this? You're old. Is this just to make you feel young again? And there's a lot of discussion about flower power.
McGovern and Eagleton.
Yeah. Paul, did you do some research on McGovern?
I don't need to. I've been so into this subject, the 72 elections, for so long that to me it's common knowledge. I have to be told, hey, not everyone knows how the nomination process of the 72 elections went.
Wow, it was crazy.
It was.
It was crazy.
It destroyed a generation of young Democrats for 25 years. The air went out of the Democratic Party.
It ultimately got simplified to for Vietnam or against Vietnam, and that did a disservice to everybody.
Yep.
Because really it just became about McGovern claiming that he would end the war in Vietnam immediately, and
versus
obviously
Humphrey.
Nixon. Right. Humphrey. That's right. It was Humphrey.
Yeah, in the Democratic primaries.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So you had a
was
I'm sorry,
Humphrey the sitting vice president, or had he already not been vice president for a while?
He had already been not vice president. He was Johnson's VP. He ran in '68, lost to Nixon, and then ran again in '72.
And lost the nomination to McGovern.
Right. So McGovern won the nomination and then brought on as his VP, this is the storied part of the 72 election, Thomas Eagleton, who was, senator from Colorado, I think?
I think Missouri.
Okay,
I don't know
sorry.
why I want to say Missouri, but...
And it became a huge scandal that he had suffered from depression and went to a psychologist and got, electroshock therapy.
Right.
And so it was like he became persona non grata.
It happened quickly, too. From the time he got nominated to the time this information came out, it happened within 2 weeks. I mean, it was something ridiculous. It was awful.
Wow.
And while all this was happening is when the Watergate burglary happened, was in July of '72. And so it all ties together into a wonderful joke where they pull out the sign where it says McGovern and then Eagleton, but Eagleton is Sharpied out.
Ah!
Good job, Family Ties Prop Department.
Way to go, Family Ties Prop Department.
Well, it was almost as good as the Family Ties costuming department and the dicky or turtleneck they put on Steven in this scene.
Yes!
Does that
Not sure
tie
which
in
it was.
Does that tie in with the Alan Alda thing? That feels like an Alan Alda to have
I thought the same thing. I thought it's like, warm, cozy fireplace. Yeah.
Yeah, a turtleneck under a collared shirt.
Yeah. Yeah. And so while the parents are going to go out and protest, Elise's parents are going to come over, and we find out grandmother's going to cook, and no one is happy about it.
Right.
Because she can't cook. There's a joke about her biscuits being used as like frisbees
or hockey pucks or something like that. And
right.
Really bad. She's a terrible cook.
Yeah, and they say it right to her face. The poor woman. Like, Jennifer says it right to her face.
And then
all she wants to do is cook for her grandchildren.
There seemed to be a lack of activity for a Thanksgiving cooking going on. Usually Thanksgiving, when you're cooking for Thanksgiving, there's a lot of courses, there's a lot of stuff. And I didn't quite realize that Grandma was bringing in her little Red Riding Hood baskets a lot of stuff with her.
Right.
Yeah.
I was wondering, why is Elise, everything's very relaxed on Thanksgiving/demonstration morning.
Hey, that's hippies, Corey. They don't get shit done. They never plan anything.
They're just, it'll just work out, man.
But there was plenty of orange juice in that kitchen, I'll tell you that much.
God damn it. I don't know. Did Tropicana fund all of Family Ties?
Were they sponsored by Minute Maid or Tropicana? Never seen so much OJ in my life.
Ever. But also, and playing... So, we find out that Elise's maiden name was Donnelly.
Right.
And we have Grandpa Charlie, played by Dick Sargent from... Bewitched.
The second Darren.
Yes.
Right. Some would argue the lesser Darren.
Yeah, I think a lot of people argue the lesser Darren, but you know what? He made it work. I thought he made it work.
Actually, I sort of like Dick Sargent.
I
think he was a handsome guy. He aged really well. He looked even good doing this episode. Always handled comedy pretty well. Thought it was good. I thought it was a good casting choice.
Yeah.
I thought it was amazing casting because you could see, because he was, like sort of a patrician Republican,
Absolutely.
You could see a straight line between him and Alex. Like, they almost had the same haircut, and they had the same boyish energy and the same comedy style.
Yeah.
I thought it was particularly good in terms of making it look like Grandpa to him.
Yeah. Here's something I noticed is that both Elise's parents think that her protests and everything are ridiculous and pointless and don't support her. Just like Steven's dad was the same way. Neither Elise or Steven have really had parents that support them, it seems.
Or supported any social cause of the late 60s or early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm amazed at how well-rounded Elise and Steven are.
Yeah.
It really says a lot. Okay, so they go off to their protest. Grandma's going to cook. No one's happy about it. And then there was this weird scene after that really never went anywhere of them Mallory
watching soap operas.
And apparently it's bad to watch a soap opera. Like, no one should, the kids should not be watching soap operas.
Scott, are you going to argue pro-soap opera?
You know what, Paul? I am.
Let's ruin this Thanksgiving discussion with falling on either side of the cultural divide of soap operas.
I'm going to say, I think let the kids watch the soap operas. I don't think it's harming them. I think it's just good, clean fun.
Here we are in 1982, however, and the soap opera that Alex and Jennifer and eventually Mallory were watching had constant organ music in it as if it was a soap opera in 1955.
That's true. And some plumber in a dress.
Yes.
There
was an obsession with soap operas in the 80s. Why was that? Like, you had Tootsie come out this year that was all about soap operas. So what was I don't know why soap operas
remember
were
at
such a
that
big
time,
deal.
though, Paul, there were maybe 11 or 12 regular soap operas on daytime television.
Yeah.
Weird.
It was huge.
Every network at least probably had 3 soap operas going on.
Absolutely, all 3 of the majors had soaps pretty much going all day long. I think the game show had already started to die off, and we were really into soap operas. There were a lot of daytime dramas.
That's interesting. All right,
Corey, did you have a favorite soap opera?
I did. I'm embarrassed to admit, but I will admit to you guys that I watched All My Children religiously for many, many years. In fact, my ex-wife and I used to tape All My Children 5 days a week. And on Saturdays, we would have a bottle of wine and watch 5 hours of All My Children.
Your awesome. Saturday night stories.
That is romantic.
I haven't seen it for 20 years, and still, if I'm flipping around, and up until last year when it went off the air,
right.
If I'm flipping around and All My Children was on, I would still stop and marvel at the fact that you cannot watch a soap opera for 20 years and still catch all the storylines as you're flipping past them. It's like, sure, I can figure this out.
Okay. Yeah, easy. My mom was obsessed with Days of Our Lives. She loved Days of Our Lives. That was her big one. I remember.
All I can remember, my mom might have watched them early on, but didn't when I was a young child. Every time we would go to the optometrist, all I remember is the opening theme song to The Young and the Restless playing. Like, they had it on a constant loop, just that song, the dun 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 dun, dun. And I was just like, oh, gotta get my eyes checked. Yeah.
And to this day, if you hear it,
my pupils start to dilate anytime I hear that song.
X, D, L.
And the only reason I think this scene that they wrote this scene this way, because it doesn't go anywhere. It's just like one-upping, like, oh, what's happening on the soap opera, is so that they can find out that Stephen and Elise have been arrested at the demonstration.
Well, it's important for that, and also to hammer home one more time that Grandma is such a bad cook that she can't put a piece of deli meat between two slices of bread without making it awful.
God, they're so shitty to Grandma.
They refuse to eat those freaking sandwiches. Eat that freaking sandwich. It doesn't look that bad.
It does. It's a sandwich. What could she possibly have put in there to fuck up a sandwich?
That's what I want to know. I'm looking at it. It's like, it looked like it was liverwurst, which of course is not my favorite, but still, eat the freaking sandwich. Your parents are in jail. Go eat the sandwich.
Granted, maybe she can't cook a turkey, maybe she can't do a souffle or something, but it's a freaking sandwich.
Sandwich. Come on, any idiot can put together a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
All right. So they all go down and see Elise and Stephen in jail, and all the protesters are locked up. Plus,
there's about a dozen of them. They all look like teachers.
Yeah, they're all the same age. There are no young people.
It looks like a CPA convention.
It does. Or PTA, yeah.
I was like, what did you do? Get a bunch of actuaries to be extras?
Yeah.
These are the most undangerous people. And when they arrested Stephen, when we saw the TV of them arresting Stephen, didn't it look as though he's carrying his sign and protesting, and a police officer just walks over to him, pulls him out of the line, and arrests him for no reason?
Yeah. And it was amazing, the camera work where you couldn't see the Hollywood sign because it looked like it was a backlot where they were just like, oh, we got to go outside and film this
That's it. We're going off the soundstage into the parking lot. We'll film this and make sure you have a really low thing so it looks like we're just right against the studio wall.
Right. You can see, if you look really closely, you can see Pee Wee Herman ride by on his bike and get chased by Godzilla.
And also locked up with him is a pickpocket. Very recognizable actor. Paul, you looked up. What was his name again?
Oh, Larry Hankin.
Larry Hankin.
You would know him as the fake Kramer, the one that plays the part of Kramer in the NBC that third season of Seinfeld, where they cast a show called Jerry. And he plays the Kramer character.
It's like is that the one where he's the fake Kramer? He's not the parallel universe Kramer?
Right, yeah, not the later Bizarro cast.
Right,
he's
the Bizarro one, right.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the one that steals George's raisins in the audition, because I think that this is the same person, that he has those pickpocket skills, that he's able to get the raisins.
It's actually special skills on his resume. He really is a pickpocket.
Larry Hageman, pickpocket. He always plays those kind of schlubby, kind of creepy, but kind of fun to watch characters. He's also in Home Alone. He's one of the cops in Home Alone that takes Catherine O'Hara's phone call and everything. Is eating a donut at the same time. He's that kind of guy.
He's apparently also, in 1982, there were very lax laws about smoking cigarettes while incarcerated.
Yes. Yes.
No one seems to be bothered by the fact that he's sitting around puffing his cigarettes in a 4-foot by 4-foot cell with 16 white people in it.
What? And then 2 black people, Corey.
Were there? I didn't catch that.
There's one guy and one girl, and they're standing up there. And the thing that made me cringe was when when they say, "Has anyone been arrested before?" People raise their hands tentatively. The black guy has his arms crossed, and then he puts his hands up to his face, and then just like he's wiggling his fingers. There was so much pathos there. It was just like, oh God, this guy has been through some shit, and he's dealing with with Alan Alda over here.
Yeah, and you can tell it's like he finally got his life together. Things are going well, and then this happened to him.
He's been fucked over quite a few times. What that hand wiggling meant.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, Paul, are you aware that the actress who played, we talked about the actor who played Grandpa, the actress who played Grandma is a Pittsburgh native?
Mm-mm. Oh. I was counting on the fact that you probably knew who she was, so I didn't do any research.
Yes, Priscilla Murill, she was a graduate of Carnegie Tech, which tells you she's a little older than your Carnegie Mellon graduates.
Sure.
Carnegie Tech. And she's from Pittsburgh.
Oh. Great. What was she on? She was on some...
She looked really familiar.
I kept on looking on IMDb, and she never really was a series regular, but she had like 2 or 3 episodes on almost every sitcom through the 70s and 80s.
She was one of those actresses, yeah.
Very specific voice. Her speaking voice was very idiosyncratic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the other thing was this episode was directed by Frank Bonner, who was a series regular on WKRP in Cincinnati. He was an actor.
Oh, wow.
Who then switched into directing and directed a lot of sitcoms, but this was the first time his name popped up for us on Family Ties. Yeah, he was one of the guys on WKRP the whole run.
Gotcha.
Interesting. Wow. Awesome. I love the fact that everyone in the jail cell wants to plan a jailbreak. Like, they ask, "How do we get out of here?"
Yeah.
They legitimately. I was like, at first when they said that line, I was thinking, okay, they're gonna try to figure out how they can contact a lawyer or something like that. No, they legitimately try to think of how can we break out of prison.
Well, this is what happens when you arrest a bunch of CPAs. They don't know how this stuff works.
Was that woman supposed to be Larry Hankin's girlfriend, wife, partner, significant other? There was that woman that we kept on getting a shot of.
You know what? She was like Marie on Breaking Bad. She was that archetype of the like repressed, obnoxious woman character. And she's wearing like an older version of what Mallory wore for the first 5 episodes.
That's exactly where I was going. Yeah,
and,
she got Mallory seconds, the stuff they didn't use in the first few episodes.
Right. I think it's supposed to be that he's so suave and like a Lady and the Tramp type thing that she's getting hot and bothered by the pickpocket character. So by the end of it, when she leaves, she's like, "I'll see you later."
Yeah. Yeah. And so the bailiff comes. The family comes to see him, comes to see Elise and Stephen. They're trying to figure out how to get out, and it's ruled that everyone is free to go from the protest as long as they sign this paper saying they will never demonstrate against nuclear arms again.
The judge wrote this up. A
judge wrote this up.
This seems perfectly legal, doesn't it? You have a problem with this? I don't know. What's the issue?
One, how do you enforce it?
I don't know.
I don't know how you enforce it. It's not enforceable and kind of unconstitutional. I'm gonna say that.
In the First
Amendment.
Amendment.
That was the first thought I had. It was unconstitutional.
Yeah.
And
First Amendment and right to assembly, too.
Right.
Yeah. Stephen and Elise's response is...
Bill of Rights for this.
Right.
Stephen and Elise's response is so ridiculous, too. They're like, "That's blackmail, act out." And it's just like, no! This is unconstitutional. You could sue the judge right now.
Yes!
You can take this piece of paper and call a lawyer. You could call Saul Goodman and have him come down and take that shit to the Supreme Court.
It will never hold up. And I got the impression that everyone else in that jail cell felt the same way. It's like, this is bullshit.
We'll sign it anyway.
We'll sign it. It's never gonna. Yeah. And then, but Stephen and Elise are so earnest and take it so seriously. So they have to stay locked up for Thanksgiving.
All right. So let's take a quick break. Where we'll let Stephen and Elise maybe think about their choices that they've made. And then we'll be right back. And we're back. Yeah, so they're in the jail cell. Alex is pissed off. And wait, who was there visiting them when they were like, "Come on, just sign the paper"?
I think
Was
it
it
was Alex. It was
Jennifer.
Alex. I think they all were there when they signed the paper.
Was Jennifer and Grandma there first, right?
okay?
No,
Okay.
that's towards the end. They decided to leave, but when they decide not to sign the paper, the whole family has gone down there, and then
Hmm.
they leave once they decide. Once Stephen and Lee said, "No, we're not signing it. I need you to, to see that we stand up for our beliefs." They all leave and go home for dinner.
Right. So we're back at the Keaton residence.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's pissed off except for Grandma Kate, and she goes into a Arthur Miller diatribe about how they believe this and
Yeah, yeah. And I gotta say this. You know what? Good for Grandma Kate. She has been treated so shitty this entire episode.
And then she really goes and sticks up for Stephen and Elise. And I thought, well, at
Yes.
least she sticks up for their beliefs. Even if her beliefs are different, the belief of freedom of speech and they have the right to have convictions and to stand by their convictions. And she's sort of teaching the grandchildren that you should have admiration for your parents for having convictions and not for just bailing on them like everybody else does.
And
Yeah.
maybe if your grandmother makes you a fucking sandwich, you eat the goddamn sandwich.
Eat the sandwich. It's your grandmother's. How long is she going to be around for?
Exactly.
Can I just want to go back to a thing that happened where the rolls that she makes are so awful, and then we talked about the frisbee, the joke that like Jennifer's like, take them with you on the protest, you could use them as a frisbee. That I feel like that was a rewrite from NBC where it should have been that it used them as rocks for the protest.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
throw them at the
Ooh.
police.
Uh-huh.
Or
And they were
maybe
like,
that's
no,
just
let's not encourage violence.
Yeah. Which makes
But
sense, because they were all about a peaceful demonstration. So,
Right.
yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, good call. So Grandma Kate sticks up for herself. She says, you know what? I'm going to go down there and have Thanksgiving with my daughter. And Jennifer decides to go too. So they decide to leave, leaving the other three pretty much sulking.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't sulk for long, because if I remember correctly, that entrance was about a minute after the other people. After
Yeah.
They were in
Yeah.
the car right behind.
They followed.
If Grandma Kate had looked in the rearview mirror, she would have seen
Yep.
that
Grandpa
they were right
was back
behind
there
them.
with Alex and Mallory.
Yep.
Now can we just get into the emotional whatever of these people where like Mallory, Grandpa, and Alex, they're so upset that Stephen and Elise won't come home and won't spend Thanksgiving with them.
Mm-hmm.
Did either of you give a shit? Like if this happened to you, would you get this indignant about the situation?
No.
No, it's just a meal on Thanksgiving. Everybody relax.
Yeah.
I
They're
would
acting
actually
like
feel bad for my mom and dad. It's like, okay, they chose to do this. Man, I feel bad that they have to be down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My thought was when the cop said, "Can we make bail?" and he said, "Well, if the judge wants to do it today, he will." But my thought was, they could be in jail all weekend long.
Right.
Yeah. They probably would
The
be.
courts could be closed Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They might have to spend from Thursday to Monday in jail until they can get a bail hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you, Paul. I don't. The kids' reactions are just, aside from Jennifer and the grandfather, are just like, what the hell? Like, lighten up
It was a
little
little
bit.
selfish, wasn't it? And
Yeah, it was
if
real.
Grandma's-
That's it. It was really
If
selfish.
Grandma's cooking sucks that bad, what are you so excited about? What, are you going to have a lousy meal with Grandma? Why don't you have some excitement in your life? Go visit your mom and dad in jail.
Yeah. You'll never forget it. Whereas
It'll be a Thanksgiving to remember.
Yeah.
And so before they get to the jail cell, we cut back to Elise and Stephen in jail, and the guard announces, "Hey, it's grub time," and they come around. They come around with a tray full of just mugs.
Mugs.
Yeah,
ceramic mugs.
ceramic mugs, like it's coffee that they're
It
supposed.
has Ziggy on it.
Yeah.
It has Ziggy hanging there or something.
Yeah, and all they do, like, the pickpocket guy looks into the mug and rolls his eyes and taps his cigarette out in it, and then Elise and Stephen, look into it and they're like, oh, this is just, disgusting, I was excited, but then I looked at it and now I'm not excited about it anymore. I was like, what were they serving them?
Cup of soup.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
It just looked weird being served in a mug like that. Like it looked like they were like it was coffee break.
I mean, you get a ceramic mug. Here's, I've never been in jail, but let's just pretend I have. First thing you do.
Go for it, Paul. Please educate us on what you do. The first thing you do.
The policeman gives you the mug of soup. First, you grab the mug. Then, you throw it in his face. It's hot. It's going to burn. Then you
grab his keys.
You smash it against the bars because it's a fucking ceramic mug and it's sharp. And then you just start cutting everybody. Cut just circles. Just make circles and you're cutting. And then you get the keys, and then you get out. And then you just watch the rest of the USC Notre Dame game that they were watching at home.
But not before you take the guy's cigarette and like extinguishes out on the guard's, bloody face. Then you go watch it. Yeah. This is a poorly run jail.
Yeah. Apparently these people never watched Oz in 1982.
Or Silence of the Lambs.
Right.
Hannibal Lecter would get out of there like a motherfucker. All right. So they have this horrible mug of we're going to assume soup. And Jennifer and Grandma show up and they're so happy to see him. And not far behind them, a minute later, the rest of the family shows up, and it's going to be a lovely Thanksgiving in a jail. There really wasn't much that happened after that.
Nope. There was a lot of talk, and yet nothing happened.
Nothing happening. No. Nothing funny, like not a punchline anywhere, nothing funny. Yeah.
I was sort of stunned by how dry the last 5 minutes of the show was.
Yeah, it felt like a Christmas episode where it's like we're all together and we've learned our lesson. Like it felt very lessony.
The most important thing is family, and we learned that, and we're not going to make any jokes about it.
Yeah, I guess that was. I mean, the lessony part I kind of got. That kind of felt like a style of the time, but not to even end on like. It's a sitcom. You end on a zinger. You end on a laugh. Like
There's
something.
A there. Sure.
They ended on a prayer.
Oh, I forgot about the prayer.
Yeah, they gave Jennifer the prayer too.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that's how it's gonna end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the less said about that prayer, the better. Where's God getting you out of prison, Stephen and Elise?
I was sort of surprised with even the mention of God, given how liberal Gary David Goldberg is. I don't know,
Yeah.
You don't have to mention God. It's okay. You could have higher spirits and not mention God.
Yeah.
It was just very weird.
I seriously was just expecting it because they had hammered it home so much. Somewhere in that prayer was going to be another jab
Mom's
at
food.
Grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Like, please, God, help Grandma learn how to cook.
Because, I mean, God didn't have, like, say, a law somewhere where he said, honor thy father and mother. That was never a thing. So feel free to keep shitting on Grandma. That's fine.
Yeah. This was...
He's never said anything about that.
Nope.
That's what we learned this Thanksgiving, is treat your grandma like shit.
Yeah.
Because she's not going to cook you a good turkey. She can barely make a sandwich.
But remember, Elise made a turkey. When did she make the turkey? For what episode? Had she already made a turkey?
When Grandpa Jake came over.
Oh, when Grandpa Jake. So,
Elise is a fantastic cook. She's a fantastic cook.
Mm-hmm.
She can make a meal, man. Like, and I'm wondering where she learned it from, because apparently Grandma's so bad.
Right, she's a dreadful cook, but Elise is a fine cook.
Elise, she can cook you up a lasagna brilliantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, guys, I think we covered it all.
Yeah, I think so.
There wasn't, like, not a ton to cover.
No, there really weren't.
Yeah, for Thanksgiving episode... Oh, go.
I was going to say, we're still running rather low on B plots. We still really don't have them.
It doesn't exist.
I think they're going to start. At some point, they're going to start having your conventional A-B plot.
Yeah, maybe when they get more reoccurring. Yeah, maybe when they get more reoccurring characters.
Yep, that's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's a good guess.
Also, Corey, something we were discussing right before we started taping was the fact that Family Ties in every episode is so every plot is important. It's all the morals and the lessons and the subject matter. Everything is high stakes.
It's like thus far in the first 8 episodes, everything has been, like Paul said to me, Modern Family, do they deal with social issues? Never.
No.
Never. And on this show, every episode, you could say, has either been about a social issue or an important family issue.
Right.
Which seems so strange for a first season show, especially. Like, you're dealing with, hard-hitting issues, and it's been kind of hard to relax into the episode and just have a good time.
But I wonder if he was nervous that the show wasn't going to last, and he was trying to get all of his liberal talking points in before it bit the dust. And then when he realized the show was a success, he sort of relaxed, and it became a little bit more leisurely, the pace.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We'll see. We'll find out.
There is a breathless quality to all of these episodes. Like, we're able to find the fun in them and stuff like that, but really, a lot of the time, it's just very, very intense. It feels like there's a lot of, like, the research that I'm doing is because there's a lot of big stuff that gets mentioned or is discussed, and it's just like, God, it doesn't even feel like a sitcom a lot of the time. Most of the time, I would say.
Yeah, it feels like an after-school special a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Well, if you took the plot out and just said the plot, if you said like a log line for the plot, they would be very much like log lines for after-school specials.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, if you're following on Netflix, you can read the log line descriptions for these episodes, and they do. Corey's absolutely right. It sounds like an after-school special. It's interesting, and also to note that we had people locked up in jail, protest, scandalous soap operas, and nothing really happened in this episode. So much action and nothing happening.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. The problem that we've talked about in the past is that they'll have these very interesting stories, or at least interesting dynamics, or interesting drama happening, but they either short sell it, they don't play to the top of its intelligence, or they undercut the important things that they're saying with terrible jokes. And so anytime momentum gets built, it's immediately undercut. Much like when Kate says this speech about why we should respect their thing, immediately the grandfather's like, yeah, well, fuck you and your cooking. And it's just like, no!
Again!
And like when Grandpa Jake said, I'm dying, and they have it out, immediately it goes into that joke about the kid that he took to the father-son picnic, and it's all just like, this show is just so weird in the way that it shoots for the stars, but immediately undercuts itself.
Right.
Absolutely. Which, to me, starts to smell like network tinkering.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's when I see that consistently, I start to think, oh, is he getting network notes to pull back on all the social stuff, and he couldn't take it out completely, so he left it in, but he pulls his punches on all those?
Sounds like, well, yeah. Yeah. Well, we will find out as we keep on this journey. If you liked our show, please rate and review it in the comments. Email us at qualitytimewithfamilyties@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at QTWFT and keep up with all our updates. You can also follow each of us on Twitter as well. I'm at Follow Jones.
I'm at Paul Packler.
And I'm at Corpep.
And be sure to like our Facebook page. We'd like to thank our host and producer, Barbara Dillon at Fanboy Con.
Corey? Scott, did we lose Scott?
I think we just did. I think he got frozen. His mouth is wide open.
Yeah.
He's either frozen or giving a blowjob.
They don't have to be mutually exclusive.
You're right. Yeah, he's frozen.
Oh, shit.
Is he coming back to life again? Or do we have to disconnect for this finale?
You know what I would say, because it happened, because it was starting as soon as he started the end credits. Yep. I say we'll just tell Bryant to cut and paste from another episode.
From another episode. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That sounds fine.
Yeah.
Well, call me back if you decide that we need to do anything.
Okay, and if not, I'll just talk to you later.
Okay, you got it, Paul.
Okay,
I'll
good job. Bye.
You too. Bye.